Oh, whoa, what's this? A stereotypical furry video? This week, I'm going to discuss some considerations for when you are designing a fursona, more specifically from a practical standpoint. I am not an artist, so I'm going to be focusing less on the artistic advice and more on issues that you may have for after you have your fursona and want to commission artwork. I've been meaning to do a video like this for a while, but there were some other topics that I felt like I needed to cover first. And honestly, I'm not sure how interested people would be in a more stereotypical video like this. However, even when I cover more casual topics, I still want to put my own spin on it and hopefully focus on things that are more meaningful and useful. So I'm still going to try to tie this with my personal experience. Let's start at the very beginning. If you want to create a fursona, you actually have a few options. The most obvious one is to design the character yourself, but it's also the hardest because many people are not comfortable drawing, and it still requires some creativity and skill to create something that you are personally happy with. If you have a design in mind, but you're not really confident about your drawing skill, you could also start with a rough sketch and then hire a professional artist to do a more polished rendition for you. There are also adoptable bases that you can color in yourself. I imagine there are some free ones out there, but a lot of them still cost a small amount of money. This is definitely a good option if you manage to find a base that you like. Some artists may also be willing to work off of text descriptions, but this is a lot less common, and I do recommend providing some kind of visual reference. But let's say that you don't actually know what you want yet, or you have a general theme that you're going for but don't have any of the details finalized. In this case, you could get an artist to create a custom design for you, or you could purchase a pre-made adoptable. My fursona was actually professionally designed by SketchRabbit, who also created my face rig model for the channel. However, if you choose to go down this path, you want to review the terms of service and ask questions if need be, because some artists will not fully transfer the design's ownership to you. For example, there may be restrictions regarding reselling the design, and with a lot of more popular artists, especially those who work with closed species, you outright cannot use a design for commercial use. This is a big issue when it comes to things like enamel pins, because it limits your ability to sell your excess stock. Okay, so now you're ready to start designing your fursona. But first, you also want to consider the number of characters you're maintaining. I currently only have one fursona, but 7 years ago I actually had multiple characters. This was honestly really difficult to maintain, and some of my characters didn't get any additional artwork at all. Some artists create very stunning designs, and it can be extremely tempting to just buy them, but having multiple characters divides up the amount of attention you can give each one. If you're commissioning, it means less artwork per character. And I've actually seen several artists sell off old characters because they don't have time to draw them all. If you're going to have only one fursona, it's important that it meets all of your needs. Switching out your fursona later can be costly, especially if you've already commissioned a lot of artwork. Now that you've sorted that out, let's move on to design considerations. Your first big decision will probably be on species. My advice here would be to choose an animal that resonates with you, not just one that you find aesthetically pleasing. There are plenty of species where I like the aesthetics, but there is no other species that I like as much as wolves. If this is a difficult decision for you, you could always create an additional character, or just create alternate artwork of your character as that species. I commonly see themed commissions like this at certain times of year. Speaking of themes, that is another thing you want to consider for your fursona. Maybe your character is modeled after some kind of idea or food item or profession, or they have a supernatural magical ability. I definitely wanted a more fantasy-themed aesthetic for my fursona, and she actually has a magical spear that goes with her design. I have this beautiful animated badge commission from Dan Cyron and Kerberos, which I think showcases the magical effect of the spear very well. A theme like this can give you more direction when designing your character and when creating future artwork. Next, we're on to colors. I think there is great value in using your favorite colors for your fursona. Don't feel like you need to stick to natural, real-world colors. However, you may still want to balance your preferences with the overall aesthetic by delegating different shades of your favorite color to different parts of your fursona. For example, my favorite color is pink, and I really like vibrant pink. However, I'd rather have a more subtle pink for my fursona's fur. More vibrant colors may be better suited for areas like the eyes, or even things like the nose, claws, or tongue. Accenting your design like this can really help your fursona stand out. Another good way to make your fursona stand out is fur markings. Markings are a great way to make your fursona's design unique and recognizable, especially if you are using a more common color and species combination, such as a blue fox or a blue wolf. However, markings like these can be hard to represent on physical merchandise, such as enamel pins, plushies, and fursuits. If the markings are very complex, you may need to use simplified versions for items like these. Another feature which can be difficult for physical merchandise is hair. I think long hair looks great on fursonas, but it's definitely hard to translate to fursuits and plushies, though I imagine that may vary by the company that you're using. And my final consideration, which plays into the design as a whole, but is especially relevant to markings, is symmetry. Symmetry can be useful because it can make portraits of your fursona accurate from either direction. However, asymmetry can be really striking, and if the differences cover a large area, it can definitely make your fursona stand out. My big takeaway from this video is that fursonas are really cool, and you should put the time and effort into making sure that you have one you're happy with. As a trans person, I can confidently say that it is a wonderful feeling to have a fursona that matches your identity. Anyways, thank you for watching all the way to the end of my first stereotypical furry video. Let me know in the comments if these tips were helpful for you, or if you just want to see more content like this. See you next week. Bye!